everybody. I just want to talk to you a little bit today about blood pressure. Sometimes we go to the doctor and the doctor tells us that our blood pressure is a little high, and they tell us usually to watch the amount of sodium in our diet. But one of the other things that a doctor will probably tell you to do is exercise. And I like to tell people why they're doing things, because when we're trying to motivate somebody to make a change, a lot of times if you tell a person why they're supposed to do it, they are more apt to try it, and it sometimes takes a while for it to become a habit. If you are a salt shaker person where, okay, for example, you sit down at the dinner table and the first thing you do is salt your food before you even taste it. If you need to change that habit, you have to practice it for 21 days for it to become more of a habit, okay? So if you're one of those people, that's one of the first things you're going to want to try to change if you are told you have high blood pressure. But another thing that we can do is exercise. Now, the heart is a muscle, and all of those blood vessels that are in our body are constantly delivering blood to the heart, and that's what keeps us alive. When we start to get something like high blood pressure, that usually means the pressure inside those blood vessels is getting a little bit tight, meaning it's just harder work for the heart to do what it needs to do. The heart is a muscle. So when we exercise, when we do cardiovascular exercise, every time we do that, our heart gets a little bit stronger. And it's not necessarily that it beats faster and more efficiently. It's more that it beats more blood, more output per beat when we exercise. So the more we exercise, the more those adaptations happen, the more effective that per beat. So the more the blood that goes out. So if you think about it, the Energizer Bunny goes and goes and goes and goes, and all of a sudden it stops. Well, if the Energizer Bunny could be turned down and go slower, that battery would last a lot longer, okay? So that's kind of why we want to exercise. The other thing that happens is it's the difference of vasoconstriction versus vasodilation. So if you think about when you're really cold, if your hands are cold, you can't see all the veins in your hand, okay? But once you start getting really warm, so think about this summer when it was 100 degrees out and you're really warm, you can see the blood vessels in the top of your hand, okay? That's vasodilation. So when we exercise, we're actually helping by vasodilating, making those blood vessels bigger so that the blood can flow more freely, okay? So it's not always just about the heart muscle, it's about when we exercise, it's immediate, okay? So when we exercise, those blood vessels have to dilate because the heart wants the blood, but the body also has to do a lot of things at one time, and one of the things it has to do is stay cool. So our body, those blood vessels vasodilate because that's our body's AC system, basically. So we're trying to get rid of and dissipate all that heat. At the same time, we're trying to make the heart stronger. And the heart is saying, I'll get stronger. You go ahead and stay cool, because if you get too warm, your body's going to shut down, okay? So when you're exercising, you're vasodilating. And that's a good thing, because that's what brings our blood pressure down. Another simple thing that we can do, and it's been proven, is if you have a stress ball or a hand gripper, just squeezing that for a minute a day can lower your blood pressure by 15 points. So if you have a client that is a little anxious or a little stressed, give them a stress ball and tell them to squeeze it until their hand gets tired and then switch to the other hand, okay? And if we have one at our desk, we can be doing that while we're on the telephone or when we're thinking, when we're watching TV. But that simple little thing just added to our day can lower our blood pressure also. I'm going to show you a quick little demonstration of vasodilation and vasoconstriction. So it helps you understand, because not everybody is an auditory learner. Some people are visual learners. So I'm going to show you a really good visual on how blood pressure works. So this is the best option I had as far as demonstrating this. But if you think about it, when your blood is going through these blood vessels, if there is vasoconstriction, if there is plaque or anything in those blood vessels, every time the heart pumps and that has that stuff that it has to go around, it's going to make the blood pressure higher. So when we vasodilate those blood vessels, it makes it easier for it to flow. So if we are trying to wash a car and we have a garden hose, I'm just going to use a faucet here. If we have a garden hose, if I'm trying to wash the car, and let's just pretend this is a garden hose, okay? And the water's flowing freely. Are we going to have enough pressure on that to actually wash the vehicle? No. Usually when we're trying to wash a vehicle, we stick our thumb over the end and it sprays all over, okay? So this is an example of vasoconstriction. That's an example of vasodilation. So which would you rather have your heart have to deal with? This, vasodilation, or vasoconstriction? Simple little demonstration on why exercise is so important and lowering the sodium so that we can keep our blood pressure under control. Till next time, everybody.